Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. So today we'll be doing our tier list for the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo. So we finished it off yesterday with the movie on Scooby-Doo, 13 Ghosts, episode 13, which we released on March 14th on Friday. So missed that by a day, but that's fine. That's how we do it on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So we have 13 episodes to go through, so it'll probably be a very short one, probably only be like 10 minutes or so. And starting off in the first episode called To All the Ghouls I've Loved Before, which was released on September 7th, 1985. Forced to land their plane near a village of werewolves, Shaggy and Scooby are tricked into opening the chest of demons and releasing 13 dangerous ghosts. And these ghosties are helped by released by Boggle and Weird, are kind of side character minions, kind of like Team Rocket style. Just kind of being around a little bit. Daphne's transformation into the werewolf and just the kind of fun adventure romp they got into, the introduction to Flim-Flam, Scrappy-Doo's reintroduction, and just kind of the general theme of the show we're going for, like with Vincent Van Ghoul and everything like that. Just a nice introduction episode, which is why I rated this one a 7 out of 10, and why this one is probably going to go into B tier. 13 Ghosts overall, it's more like how I like the villain. It's kind of how I'm rating it. And then next, released on September 14, 1985, we have Scooby-Doo. So this one is a villain voiced by the great Peter Weller, one of my favorite villains in the entire series. I really enjoyed this one because of just how weird it was, you know, of like kind of fairy tale style. And then Scooby just happened to beat him in the end by being like related to the Great Danes, that kind of thing. Just a bit of a interesting, weird one, but I feel like it still had some pretty fun ones. I think I like the villain and himself more than the episode just because he's voiced by Peter Weller, and that's pretty awesome. But I think I'm going to give this one an A, just because I had a lot of fun with it, even though it was a bit strange, especially starting off episode 2 with that as like our first demon of the main entire show. And next we have Me and My Shadow Demon, released on September 21st, 1985. The chest of demons is summoned by the Shadow Demon, so the gang heads off to a maze-like befuddled manor to retreat, but soon they have to contend with the demon chest escapee, Queen Morbidia. So this is a bit of a strange one. Like, we have the name of the episode was just not even like the main demon, so I feel like she was kind of, Morbidia was kind of sidelined in her own program. Also the Griswold and the Spinster Spider. There's a lot of weird stuff. It was very confusing. It didn't really feel like it was even like could have been 2 episodes by themselves. It was just a bit weird and just a bit strange, and I rated this one a 5 out of 10. This is our first 5 out of 10 of the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo, and for me personally, I think I'm gonna put it at D. Just feel like that it didn't really amalgamate very well overall of the series. I do like the Shadow Demon. I thought he was pretty cute, but I feel like overall it just didn't really flow compared to like Peter Weller's monster villain and that kind of stuff. All right, and then next we have Reflections in a Ghoulish Eye, which was released on September 28th, 1985, and we rated this one also a 5 out of 10. I think I do like this one more than the previous episode. I feel like the Reflector Spectre was a bit more fun. We also have Boggle and Weird appearing once again, and then this is when the gang gets most of their property damage. It's basically 30,000 for each of them for destroying that entire kind of conference buildings and stuff. They go to Morocco, like pretty fun kind of location visit when they go to a paranormal convention. So also seeing all the different characters, the kind of a little nerdy guy and the like his friend was also a bit interesting, but it kind of just brought you out of it. It was just so random having them be there, but you know, it was kind of cute that they were Scooby-Doo. He was a Scooby-Doo fan, and just kind of the shenanigans they got up to. And then that's also when we discovered like you know, he buys a vacuum spooky kind of thing and then Flim-Flam first time sucking up the monsters. He does it like 3 times throughout the series, which is also kind of interesting. And then just overall, just kind of medium for me. So I rated a 5 out of 10. I think I am going to give this one probably a C. Because I did really enjoy it. It's just not the best. And then next we have That's Monstertainment, one of my favorite episodes of this entire 13 Ghost series. So horror host and demon chest escapee Zombo magically transports Scooby and the gang to the film The Son of the Bride of the Ghost of Frankenstein. 6.5 out of 10. It was released on October 5th, 1985. This one was really fun. I really liked Zombo as a villain. She was really fun. Also liked that the way that they transported themselves into the movies, and then they just kind of all went into their roles pretty successfully. And like Shaggy, whenever he like something that was cute and funny was like when Shaggy was like yelling at Scooby, like, "Hey, do this and this," and Scooby's like, "Shaggy, no!" And then Shaggy's like, "No, don't worry, Scooby, that's fine. I'm just acting," and that kind of stuff. Just it was a pretty cute episode. Vincent Van Ghoul was kind of silent in this one, which I didn't really like. I feel like Vincent Van Ghoul is definitely my favorite of the 13 Ghosts, because he was kind of the only new character really where he was just not cool and also friendly, knew what to say, knew what to do, and knew how to get things going kind of styles. Because I feel like the rest of the gang kind of just, they kind of flipped on what they actually do overall, like for the sanctity of the show, you know, of like Shaggy and Chewie don't eat very much, or and then Scrappy and Flim-Flam, that kind of thing, where they bounce back and forth on what they do and what they say and how they feel about certain things. Where like Flim-Flam stayed the most constant, and just that's why he's my favorite. Zomba was just a fun villain, just in general. Just kind of the not going for the chest of demons though was definitely a mark on this episode, which is why I think I rated it. I think my original score was gonna be like 7.5, but because she just did that cartoon villain thing where she definitely would have won, but she had to do it in super convoluted way, which is why I brought it down to a 6.5. But for me, I think this is definitely probably going to be the only S tier. So I'm going to give that one a high A, I think. Yeah, because I think only one S tier for me. And then next, we have Ship of Ghouls, which was released on October 12th, 1985. Scooby and the gang plan a restful vacation unaware the cruise ship they've booked passage on is populated by ghosts. So this was a really interesting one because I rated another 5 out of 10. It was entertaining of like a bunch of different ghosts appearing just randomly. I feel like that we didn't really have any like main like ghost ship and stuff like that until like the later movies, so it was kind of an interesting dynamic of having all that stuff appear basically, of like, hey, you know, this is this and this, we have this and this, and let's do these things for all the ghosts and what they get up to. I boost up my webcam a little bit just because there's not very many episodes, so don't need to worry about that very much. For me personally, I think 5 out of 10 makes sense for this one, to be honest. I'm gonna put this one I did like the villain. I liked his design. How everybody reveals himself as ghosts and how they were killed 50 years ago when it sank and then removed triangle. That was a pretty fun, interesting kind of styles of things. I feel like the villain himself was captured way too easily, similar to the 13th episode, because I just reacted to that one rather shortly before I did tier list just to keep me fresh. So I feel like that he also kind of goes out, you know, kind of like a wimp, which is why I'm probably going to give this one, I think I like it more than her. So I think I'm going to put this one high D. And then next we have A Spooky Little Ghoul Like You. So this one was released on October 19th, 1985. And this one was probably definitely my least favorite episode of the entire 13 Ghosts series. Just the three witch sisters were very, so they were like kind of Three Stooges coded is how they did it. And just so boring, like just a really nothing episode for me. I really didn't like it. We had the main villain, Marcella, and just such a random kind of push through with her of why she was even a part of things and why they even bothered like putting her in really. Because I feel like she didn't really do much at all. It was more like the Witch Sisters that even really did anything that kind of a main storyline, you know? So just a bit nothing for me, and just one of those ones where I didn't have very much fun with it. And I feel like that the next couple episodes are a bit more fun. And this is why this one is my least favorite for sure of this entire series, besides the finale later on. So I'm going to give this one an F. And then next, we have It's a Wonderful Scoob. So this one, my favorite episode of this entire series. I really love this one a lot. It's definitely going to be our only S tier. This one was just such a fun episode. It was so good. And just one of those ones that was just really fantastic. Ooh, my bad. I accidentally skipped A Spooky Little Ghoul Like You. Yeah, with Nakara. Yeah, we'll go back to that one. Give me 1 second. Yeah, so Spooky Little Ghoul Like You, which was released on October 19th, 1985. We rated this one as 6 out of 10. And this one was with Nakara, who battling with Vince Van Gogh, who was crowned Warlock of the Year. He's fallen under a love spell that they have to break and wants to drain him of magical powers by getting married with him. Well, marriage is right. Haha. Just kidding. Single for life. And then so this one was just an interesting one because we had kind of like a different kind of style of episode where we had Vince Gogh kind of the main dude that was essentially captured or otherwise engaged, and the rest of the gang having to save him instead of the other way around, which I thought was a pretty fun dynamic. It kind of changed things up a little bit, you know, kind of made it a little bit interesting of when they needed to go there and what they needed to do to actually break him free from the spell, and that they knew pretty quickly that he was under a spell and they needed to go save their boy. And they got up to that pretty quickly, which I really enjoyed, of like kind of just everybody coming together and kind of, you know, doing their thing that they needed to do to save the guy that they, their main man. So that's why I rated that one a 6 out of 10. I think I'm also going to put this one probably above sea, because I really enjoyed it, the kind of dynamic and kind of them all coming together to save Vincent Van Gogh, who they all enjoy, and like Flim-Flam, kind of like the father-daughter dynamic or father-son dynamic that they have, just kind of that kind of vibe, It was just pretty cute overall. And now we go back to It's a Wonderful Scoo, which I mentioned. November 2nd, 1985 is when it released, and I rated this one a 7 out of 10. This is going to be our only S tier episode. Just such a fun one. The time slime villain was really fun, and then it was so fun trying to replace Scooby and then going back in time and all the shenanigans and what gets up to whenever Scooby's not there, kind of like a Ghost of Christmas Past kind of style Scrooge bit, and just a really fun one. We saw Scooby for the first time as a little baby with Mumsy and Dad-I-Do, and just a really cute, fun episode of like what could be, what could have happened, and then the futuristic settings, just a really cool bleak landscape, just a really overall a really fun style of episode, and just something that was really, really awesome to see, and that I just enjoyed. It was just fun. I would have watched a whole movie of that. That would have been so cool. Of like a Mad Max style of like Daphne, Velma, Fred. That'd be so fun. So that's why it's going to be S tier for me. Next, we have Scooby in Quacky Land. So a similar vibe to Zomba's episode, which was, this one was released on November 9th, 1985. So the Demon Demondo imprisons Scooby and the gang, the Funny Papers, as part of his plan to take over the world using monsters in the cartoon strips. So this one was an interesting premise enough, because they try to copy her episode, like I mentioned, but I feel like it just really didn't hit, because the cartoons that they drew, like they were created for the show or they were created beforehand, which I read in the trivia during the episode. I feel like they didn't really implement it as well as Zomba's episode, and it just really fell flat for me. I feel like they could have used the characters a lot more, like the scenes of what they used with like the different kind of landscapes of like all the drawings were a little slightly different of like the backgrounds and stuff like that, and then using the different characters of like we go here and here, and then the kind of all the characters teaming up with them and like living in their world at the end was pretty interesting. But overall, they could have done so much more with this episode. Like they could have done it very Space Jam style, where they kind of just interact a lot more, have a little bit more moments instead of just going strip to strip and then hey, we're all here now at the end kind of thing. They could have just flowed that a little bit better, but it's kind of hard to do that in 20 minutes, which is understandable. But I feel like they could have used them a lot better, or just picked, I don't know, better comedy character strips, because I feel like they were all just a bit basic, So the Claw, very kind of drippy dog style, and just kind of, just felt a bit kind of copying their own stuff, which I thought was kind of interesting. But overall, not too bad of an episode. Not my favorite, which is why I rated this one a 5.5 out of 10. I think I'm going to give this one probably a middle D. I think the cruise ship one was a little bit more fun with like the ghost really reveals and all the junk they got up to. And then next we have Coast to Ghost. I always have to say that one a little bit slower. Released on November 16th, 1985. When Vincent Van Gogh's entire body slowly turns into stone, Scooby and the gang wind up in cahoots with Bog and Weird while fending off two overzealous FBI agents. So this was a really fun change of pace dynamic for this episode of like Bog and Weird joining the gang kind of unofficially, similar to like, in One Piece when that kind of thing. There's a really fun change of like another one where they have to team up to save Vincent Van Gogh, but this time they team up with their ghosty guys. And that's the first time that the ghosts reveal themselves, and the next time they meet the ghost, not in disguise, they know that they're ghosts. So kind of just the adventures they got up to, like flying the plane and all the blimp. This is when he got his main property damage in this episode. The random ghostly paranormal people have their own organization, and they're led by a man with basically a floating skull. We don't really learn about them anywhere else besides Bogan we're mentioning in the next episode, but that's it, because there's only 3 episodes left. After this episode, there's only 2 left. So kind of just, hey, we have a big shadowy organization with like 40 demons that are not a part of the main demon chest. I'm not going to talk about them again except the next episode, and then that's it. So that was kind of an interesting, weird one. But I did like the kind of organization in the background, and kind of, we had a main demon, we had our 2 ghosts teaming up, we also had the FBI agents that were pretty bad, and then just all that kind of random, just throw it at the wall kind of thing is just fun sometimes in the Scooby-Doo premise, and just mixing it up a little bit always makes me happy. Which is why I rated this one a 6 out of 10. I think I'm probably going to put this one high B above the werewolf episode, just because it was just such a fun, just quacky kind of thing. We'll just whoosh, let's all go for it. Then the next episode, we have the ghouliest show on earth, and this one was an interesting one where free carnival for everyone. And this one was released on November 23rd, 1985. While visiting Scooby's parents in Douville, Flim-Flam becomes hypnotized by a circus ringmaster. Vincent Van Gogh's been kind of captured twice. And now it's Flim-Flam's turn to get hypnotized, and everybody goes back to save him. You know, they all have a good time. We meet Scooby's parents for the first time in the main continuity of the show, besides his past. And just a nice little version of them, which was pretty cute. You know, saw his parents twice this episode, or twice in this season, which was pretty cool. And just the kind of shenanigans they get up to of trying to rescue Flim-Flam, and the slow reveal of the Circuit Master being one of the main demons, and trying to use that to basically hypnotize Flim-Flam to get the main kind of demon chest out of his hands and, you know, do some damage. But Scooby and Shaggy kind of break free of that spell, like, you know, really bust into action, like when Shaggy kind of picks up both of Scooby-Doo's parents and runs them away. It's like, nope, let's go, Mama and Dada do. We got to get out of here. Let's save everybody, kind of thing, which were really cool and really awesome. I like that a lot. Of Shaggy taking charge, essentially, of like, hey, you know, this is bad. And then, you know, the Funaway mirror scene was just a nice, creepy reveal. I still don't know what kind of movies and shows they do that, but I've seen that before, of like, you know, taking a bite of, I don't know, like a piece of chicken, and it's, you know, like a zombified kind of thing. That kind of style was a pretty fun, cool reveal of like, that's why the fun mirror was cut off. You know, you wouldn't have that attraction at your main park, because that just does your whole big show. That's probably why you had it crossed off, but don't even have that. Knock it down, man. And that's why I rated this one a 6 out of 10. For me, I think I'm going to put this one below Second B, behind the Demon episode. It was pretty fun. I really liked it. And it had a lot of cute moments in it. And then last, the finale, released on December 7th, 1985. We reacted to that one pretty shortly here. Horoscope Scoob. We rated this one a 4 out of 10. It was a very, very lackluster finale. I feel like that the main villain pretty much went out and the big reveal of like the medium being the villain was just a very nothing, because I feel like Vincent Van Gogh's friend, the TV studio people, it was Boris Kripov, great name, but I feel like he was the one that did everything, really. Took the Chest of Demons and took them, basically invited them over to the show to open the Chest of Demons, and that their big plan was to go on the show to show everybody that they have it, and that kind of thing. And just all that junk was just so nothing, you know, of like, he was the one that did everything. Talua, who was really Sambulu, did nothing, you know, just nothing happening, no interestingness, just Flim-Flam sucking them up at the end, and that's it. Job done, you know? So just, I felt like that one was just really, really weak, to be honest. And I think that's actually also going to be an F. I think F2, as in the weakest episode of the entire show. I just really wanted to at least wrap it up a little bit more, or just have some more fun with it, because I feel like the first 2 episodes, they really, really connected, of just going right into it, of the last 2. But the finale really didn't bring any meat, you know? Just kind of, hey, that's it. Our weakest villain, he gone. So that was just a bit frustrating. At the time of this recording, I did skip in the middle, so we'll be reacting to the movie next. And so I'm interested to see where they got, because it got very mixed reviews, and I've interested to see where they go there, and how that happens. Of course, that reaction will go out yesterday, so you'll have already seen it. So technically, overall, I'm pretty happy with this tier list. We have 1 S, 2 A's, 3 B's, 2 C's, 3 D's, and 2 F's. So I feel like overall that's a very good average. You know, there's nothing crazy D or crazy F, like all episodes, you know. Because I did have some enjoyable moments, even though it's not too crazy rated. Like, we only had 1 7 out of 10, which is our S tier. For like, in general, that's just how I feel about it. Like, we have a couple like 6s that are really A's on the actual main tier list, is how I kind of did it, and how I usually do it. So I feel like that one was pretty fun. I can't wait to next week. We will start with Pup Named Scooby-Doo. It'll be 4 episodes to start us off, because every other Saturday from now on, since we're now catching up after the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo, the first movie that comes out in 1985 is Boo Brothers. So that's why after the 4 episodes of Pup Named Scooby-Doo, March 28th, Friday, we have the first Scooby-Doo movie officially, Boo Brothers. So that'll be really exciting. And then we'll be watching Pup Named Scooby-Doo all the way until May 26th. This one has been the end of the Scrappy-Doo era. Hope you've all enjoyed my watching. Then we still have my Scrappy-Doo special episode that you can watch if you want my general feelings about the Scrappy-Doo era, which is why I skipped it. But for now, I will see you guys next week for our first episode of the Pup Named Scooby-Doo. Thank you everyone for watching, and have a great day. See ya.